you have been a cooperative banker, you have been with NABARD also, and you are now running the ecosystem from Sahakar Bharati. So as a person who has seen all these phases, and in the last 2 years how the cooperative bank has been moving, what is your thought about the industry now?
See, at the outset, thank you for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to share my views with such a galaxy of cooperative bankers. And also, at the very beginning, I would like to congratulate the cooperative banking sector, urban banking sector in particular, because the financial results for 31st March 25 are the best in last 5 years.
Oh,
they are the best in last 5 years.
Please give a clap to yourself.
The number of banks under SAF have now come down to about just 30. Just 30. And the banks under AID is also just 30.
Excellent.
That is one signal. The gross NPA, the net NPA levels are comparable, very good. In fact, the net NPA level is comparable to even international standards.
Wonderful.
So there is no issue. Provisioning coverage ratio is as high as 90%. And capital adequacy is ranging between 15 to 18% for all the banks. It will differ from bank to bank, but it's in the region of 15 to 18%. That's the position. There are some spots where we need to improve also. That's also I will take before you start asking the questions. The growth rate has not been keeping with the general banking industry. While the growth rate for the entire banking has been ranging between 10 and 15%, for the cooperative banks, it's between 3 and 5%. It's very low. The cost-income ratio has shot up for all banks. Operating profits have come down. Very, very marginally, the net profit has increased, very marginally. But the biggest, according to me, cause of concern is we are not posting growth. We need to post the growth because the fixed expenses and the recurring expenses continue to rise for all banks. And we cannot afford to do that. We need to build up our reserves, plow back our profits after giving a reasonable return to our shareholders. But more than 75% of the business of the urban cooperative banks is now with good rated banks. That's another very plus point, I would say.
Superb.
This narrative has to go in the media. So when we publish our annual reports, we need to mention not only about our banks, but we have to talk about the sector. That's the thing that is now necessary, I feel.
Interesting, sir. I think this was a great insight. While overall it shows that if you see the India's GDP also, overall the GDP is growing but what is the per capita income? Okay, we have to start increasing the per capita income of the people in the country, where from $1,500 to we have to reach to $15,000 and equal to that of countries like Singapore or US or whatever it is. And that is what we need to do.
This would not be an apple-to-apple comparison.
Correct.
So I wouldn't agree exactly with what you said. We need to increase the per capita income. That is necessary. But with a large population of 140 crores, it's going to take time.
Absolutely.
We should not forget that in last 10 years particularly, about 25 crore people have risen above the poverty line. So that's an indication that we are in the right direction and we are moving ahead. But then it is going to take time. This
Absolutely.
Per capita income built in. But that's not going to be the case for urban banks. We have, the economy is growing at a very fast pace. We remain the fastest growing economy amongst the large economies. And I believe the current dark clouds will pass away. I don't think that's it going to be very serious impact on our economy, we should be doing well. So this is the time when the bank should grow. With a growing economy, the banks can also grow at a very fast pace.
Now coming to this factor of growth that you have spoken, where the growth of the sector has not been very, very high or has been marginal. Okay.
It has been very less,
Very literally less. You have been very modest in saying that. So, for that particular purpose, what are the key factors that are contributing to the low growth of the cooperative banking sector today? As an regulator, as an industry insider, and also as an ecosystem builder.
See, there are 3 or 4 points that is inhibiting our growth. Number one, I would say, most of the banks having brought their NPAs under control, having made good provisions, to a great extent, many of the bankers have become risk averse. They don't want to take, in a way, any risk. That is the biggest problem today. And this is happening because in many of the cases, the skill sets required for a growing bank are limited. We need to do a lot of capacity building. We need to infuse, I would say, young blood, qualified blood, and that will take us forward. That is number one, is the point I would mention. Second is, we are hardly doing any marketing. Hardly. See, I would say the urban cooperative banks are doing a great job. We are complementing the efforts for attaining sustainable development goals. The small loans or the personal loans also that a cooperative bank sanctions to their shareholders, apart from the consumption loans, we promote a lot of direct and indirect employment. We promote entrepreneurship, but then we don't highlight what we are doing. That is point number 2. Point number 3, we have a large section of our people who need financial support, even for their consumption needs. We keep a large segment of our population of such needy people away from the money lenders. We are doing a lot. And this priority sector targets, we have achieved it around 60%. For the sector as a whole. And this indicates that we are funding the unfunded. It's again a sustainable development goal for the country. So cooperative banks, when we take a bigger picture, we are doing all these things, but we don't highlight. We are promoting self-employment, we are promoting this indirect employment, entrepreneurship. We are keeping the money lenders away. We are funding the unfunded. Now, these are our strong points and we need to build on it. We don't have to grumble. Personally, I feel that our limits are being restricted 50% to 25 lakhs and all. 25 lakhs is not a small figure for most of the banks. Because I had been complaining because I have been receiving representation. No, this limit should be increased. Recently, the limit was also increased because that affected some 400 banks in particular. But for a large number of Tier 1 banks and a large number of Tier 2 banks, 25 lakhs is not an inhibiting factor. We are not lending as much as we can. Just as today somebody said, I don't remember, I think yes, Mr. Utekar said that their Rajkot Nagrik Bank's portfolio of gold loan is 800 crores now. That's what he was mentioning in the panel discussion. See, there are people. I have been to a district in Maharashtra called Dhulia, where they lend even against silver. Looking to the prices, high prices of the gold, people may not have enough gold, so they are. So innovative products, innovative services is what we need to introduce. Reach out to people. There is a huge credit gap in the country. And particularly the MSME segment, forget the bigger ones. micro, small, and medium. Forget the medium one. Even the small, micro and tiny, we are not talking of tiny enterprises at all in this entire discussion. That's where the money is really required. The flow of credit to this segment is very low. We have something like 7.5 crores of MSME units. They are not in, and the tiny units which I mentioned are not included in this. And they are the least funded. That is where we need the flow of funds to increase. And with the recent government guidelines, where the guarantee has also come for good banks, I think we should prepare a strategy and move out. And the third part apart is induction of technology and its upgradation from time to time. That is very much necessary. If customers, and particularly the young aspirational generation that we have in our country, if we are not able to provide services akin to the mainstream banking segment, customers would be reluctant to come. Reserve Bank is not going to ask you to close down or merge or convert into a small finance bank. The challenge will be, if we have no customers, how are we going to achieve the break even and be relevant? That's the challenge that we have before us.
You spoke about skill set. You talked about technology. We also discussed that with all these things in place, one important thing is to have a vision document for the cooperative banks. Correct? What is the kind of vision that you think the cooperative banks should develop for their growth path in the near, immediate, or mid-term future?
See, personally, when I have been meeting a large number of cooperative bankers across the country on almost a daily basis. I'm not over exaggerating, but I have been meeting regularly. And whenever they say we want to grow, but there is no clarity as to what they mean by growth. The only answer that I get is we want more branches. True. The number of branches that each urban bank has limited when we compare it to the other bigger branches. But then that is not growth alone. See, we need to prepare a vision document, keeping in the background our legacy, the growth potential in the area in which we operate, the segment of the society to which we cater our services, the technological services that we can deliver. Today with technology, the area of operation boundaries are much less, the restrictions, I would say. So that's not going to, so we should say, okay, I am in a particular region, I'll cater primarily to this sector, this industry, this area. I want to be a regional bank, I want to be a state level bank, I want to concentrate on trade and finance, I want to concentrate on small scale industry. A variety of factors really go into deciding for achieving growth. And I appeal to every bank that they should have a vision document and a road path. Of course, every 2 or 3 years, the vision document and the targets we have set can be reviewed, can be modified, changed. But then, if we have a focus, we achieve that. And that is what is absolutely necessary in the current context. Opening of branches is one thing. We can have mobile branch. In the past, we used to have. We have not tried it out. It's necessary. A mobile bank can cater to at least 4 centers in a day. And then we can have tie-ups with other institutions. Banking correspondent is a thing which is going to take us far and wide. And if we supervise and put a proper system in place, they could be our next main area through which we can achieve growth, I personally feel.
Superb, sir. You mentioned about one more interesting thing. Okay, well, of course, branch is one option. You spoke about mobile banking, payment systems, and non-conventional revenues for the bank. There are also signs that RBI may give new licenses to the urban cooperative banks or for new banks in urban cooperative sector. So, how is the competition of that going to be? What is the kind of vision for that from the regulator's perspective and from the cooperative bankers' perspective?
See, the Reserve Bank has not yet come out with any clear-cut guidelines for opening of new or licensing of new urban cooperative banks. There has been a continuous demand from the sector and those who want to enter the cooperative banking sector that urban cooperative banks should also be licensed, and it should be available on tap as it is for other segments of the banking industry. The entry point norms and the viability norms that would follow with the licensing is work in progress.
Okay.
I would not say it is finalized and ready, but there has been a lot of work that has been going on at the Government of India level also, and also there has been a lot of in-house discussion study about licensing of new banks. And before long, I believe the licensing would start in the urban cooperative sector. The reason is very clear. We have always heard about Tier 3, Tier 2, Tier 1 cities and all. But there are some 18 to 20,000 new urban townships and urban centers that are coming up across the country. And there is a big need in those places also that we have banks. For a country of our size, which is continental in nature, the number of banks that we have is very, very small. We need more banks. But we need strong, financially sound and well-managed banks.
Correct.
So that would be the uppermost criteria when the banks are being licensed. And those banks which are there already in the system, they all will have to be financially sound and well-managed. So keeping this in aspect that there are huge untapped resources in the country today, even in urban areas. I am not talking of rural areas. There is huge amount in rural areas which is untapped and has not become a part of the formal financial system. But for urban areas, we need that, and it should come through before long.
And sir, recently I was reading about RBI trying to treat cooperative banks in par with the large banks. There was some news item which was there. On one side, it is a great thing. On the other side, you have Basel II, Basel III and all those kind of norms, risk management norms and all that. How do you think the cooperative banks can actually make themselves capable to be in par with the larger banks?
I will give you a little more background for that. After the Banking Regulation Act was amended, the Reserve Bank initiated steps to integrate the cooperative banking segment with mainstream banking segment. So it has been a glide path. It has not been sudden. They have not been told do it tomorrow. All banks have been given sufficient time and they have been asked to do it. Even the expert committee which came out with its report, Vishwanathan Committee, about 2 years back or a little more, they have given a glide path for increasing the capital adequacy ratio over a period of time. So there will be a glide path, and the path will be such that they would be able to achieve. Of course, all banks will have to make effort, but they will be able to achieve. It's not going, and suppose a bank achieves 0.5% less, they are not going to hang. They'll give further time if they have shown the inclination. But in the context of Basel II guidelines and all, I would like to mention two things again. The Banking Regulation Amendment Act has now an enabling provision that the cooperative banking sector can raise capital through multiple means, even tapping the capital market over a period of time. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen that the cooperative banks will get listed on Bombay Stock Exchange or NSE in the immediate future, because some 15 acts will have to be amended and a lot of work will have to be done before that final stage is achieved. But for the cooperative banks, there is immediate necessity for raising capital. And raising capital is not because only for CRAR or anything. See, I look to capital from three different angles. One is basically risk management. Ultimately, it is your net worth, it is your own capital which helps you to withstand any expected or unexpected loss. So we need a robust capital framework for all urban cooperative banks for risk management and meeting expected and unexpected losses. Secondly, we need capital for growth. Just as we ask any borrower, what is your margin contribution? We don't expect that the banks should do their business only on public deposits.
Correct.
They should have their own stake in it. So we need capital for growth also. And the third most important point as I look to it today is, this is an era of digitalization, computerization is an old word now. We need to continuously induct technology, continuously upgrade technology, and optimize our operations as we go ahead. Now, for induction and upgradation of technology, again capital is necessary. Because it's not only that we invest in technology, but also write off in a period of 3 years. So we need capital, and we should raise capital. In fact, many of you must be aware that immediately after and during the COVID period, the Reserve Bank had appealed to all banks to raise capital. The entire banking sector, public sector, private sector, small private banks, the small finance banks and the payment banks less, but all the other three did raise capital. Cooperative banks by themselves didn't raise much capital. In fact, it was necessary that we raise capital. It is high time at regular intervals, without getting a fear of elections, because we have one person, one vote. So many of the banks think, no, this will complicate elections. A well-run bank has never to be afraid of elections. The board will never be defeated in a well-run bank. That's my experience all along. So we should raise capital in larger interest of the bank, which serves public good. And that is necessary, I believe. And new instruments are coming.
Superb. I think that was a wonderful conversation from your side, sir.
Many of the urban cooperative banks have invested in the erstwhile Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank. And unfortunately, this bank is merged with one SFB. And when PMC Bank was there, that time in phased manner, the urban cooperative banks were asked to provide 100%. So 20% they provided. And then when it was merged into Unity SFB, naturally the investment was none other than performing investment. So as per the income recognition and asset classification norms, sir, we believe that the investment should not, the provision should not be 100%. And people have already invested in the investment of a PMC, that amount is stuck up, and 100% provision again is stuck up. So it's a collateral damage, and therefore my request to you, sir, as a voice of sector, that why this 100% provision is insisted by RBI when it is performing investment, and as per the IRAC norms, since it's a non-SLR investment, can it not be mark-to-market basis provision, sir? That's my question.
See, this PMC was forced on the sector. It was a daylight robbery, it was a fraud. And there were two options at that time before the regulator. One was to cancel the license and liquidate the bank. That was not done simply because of two reasons. Deposits up to 5 lakhs, which are covered by DICGC, the total amount was just 3,000 crores. I am giving a round figure, it's not the exact amount, round figure. And the deposits which were not covered by DICGC was in the region of about 10,000 crores. So had we cancelled that license, people with smaller quantum, that is up to 5 lakhs, would have got their 3,000 crores. But a large number of depositors, they numbered about 45,000 all put together, and they would have completely lost the deposits, completely. So it was always felt that, true that the monies could not be paid immediately because there was a huge loss that the small finance bank, that was Unity Small Finance Bank, which was formed, they'll take time to build up their business, earn profits, ensure liquidity, compliance with SLR, CRR, and also ensure public deposits that they will accrue. So there was a need that these deposits be kept in a lock-in period first. A large part of it is already over now. It's only, I believe, a question of 2 years more now. I had at that time pleaded that the shares or the deposits, receipts, should be listed on the Bombay Stock Exchange or the National Stock Exchange. But then there is a peculiar provision for listing, which I was not aware at that time, that any new company which is set up can list its instrument only if it has a track record of having earned profit for 3 years. And without that, it cannot be listed. Now 3 years, this is the third year that they have completed, they have earned profit. We need to again take up this issue and have these instruments listed on the stock exchange. People may not get full money, but definitely it will give a liquidity to those people who want it. And it's a scheme that was prepared similarly on the lines which was done for Yes Bank. It's not 100% identical, it's substantially different. For Yes Bank also it has taken a long time. It's only last week we heard that a Japanese bank is now taking over and State Bank and other Indian banks are now pulling out gradually. So we'll have to again take up this issue of Punjab PMC deposits, because a large number of banks, credit institutions, educational institutions, gurudwaras, all monies of all these institutions are stuck up. So we'll have to take it up again. I agree, why double provision? When we made this exercise, we are fairly confident that the bank will click. It will not. Otherwise, we would not have ventured into licensing the unit. Reserve Bank would not have ventured into licensing it. But then, as an abundant precaution, if nothing happens, you should be having provision to fall back upon. That was the whole idea. See, this was also the case of 100% provision for deposits placed by urban cooperative banks with district cooperative banks where the monies have got stuck up. So we'll have to have a little more patience. We'll have to pursue. I am on my own, I assure that I'll again take up the matter of having these instruments listed on the Bombay Stock Exchange. The sector should also demand. Akele मुझ पर मत छोड़ दीजिए. So everybody should raise that demand, because monies have been stuck up and many banks were put under SF mainly for that reason. That's what happened, because they posted losses on account of making loss. Thank you.
Great. This session was really enlightening.
I believe we all should decide. At all times, we will remain financially sound and well managed, number one. And we should post growth of at least 10% and increase it over a period of time. All the troubles that we are facing today will vanish. All the best.